Hey y'all, it's Elijah. Today I want to talk about something great, and also, because this will be episode 10, I believe, for Elijah's Mind podcast. You know, it's been a while since I've talked on my actual podcast, but this will also be a reflection too, so it'll be both. It'll be a reflection and, one of my video diaries, and two will be another podcast. So basically, I want to tell you all about my origin story and, where I'm from, how I grew up, because a lot of people like to know, oh, where are you from, Elijah? So before I show you, just know that I'm a hat guy. I wear all kinds of hats, and getting the boots, city boots, and this stuff going right here. A good friend of mine said, "You look like a hipster today." Well, I told him, I dressed up like a cowboy too one time. So I'm what you call a country and city guy. But before I begin, let me just say this. I was born in Gainesville, Georgia, and my mom was working at the hospital at the time. And, it was very hard at the same time because, before she was even working at the hospital, she was actually in sales, food sales. My dad, he was actually a service tech for this big company owned by Tyson Foods, the Cobb Vantress, and that's how I was. That was me basically. I have an older sister named Chelsea. Chelsea and I were we were closer in the beginning, when I was growing up with her, because she was 6 years older than me, but we still had fun, and I grew up around Northeast Georgia, near Helen, Georgia, the famous tourist town. So, and, I had pleasure of going, to White County High School, and, even Lumpkin County, because we bought a new house that year, and it was difficult to say goodbye to people, but God, as he says in Jeremiah 29:11, for I know I have the plans for you, says the Lord. I was just paraphrasing it in a way. What I was saying earlier, being around my, grandparents, including my Papa Joe, my great grandfather, it was pretty amazing, because people think I have what you call an old soul, and basically what that is first of all, I don't believe in reincarnation, but I believe if you're around different generations, and and you're taught these certain things, especially growing up in a Pentecostal church like I was before I actually became an Orthodox Christian, it's you have these values and you learn to accept them, you believe them. And so I believe in the code of chivalry, as my grandparents taught me. They didn't really say that, but they said loyalty, love thy neighbor as thyself. Be a Southern gentleman. I'll get the door for the lady. I remember a few months ago, I went on this hangout / date with this girl. And I, even though it didn't really work out, it was first of all, I didn't tell her my intentions. I should have done that, but it still went well, because we're still friends. Nothing's awkward. But I got the seat for her, because my mom, she taught me those kind of values. And being around my grandparents, it was I don't know, when you're constantly told about someone's life, it's you just feel so influenced. Not at the moment, not at the particular present moment, but she was just telling about her life, and being a curious person. My personality is inquisitive. I don't mean to ask a lot of questions, but I do, because I'm just a people person, and I'm aware that this world is very dangerous. So, I've come to realize that. But when I get to know someone, I'll tell them things, but at the end of the day, I'm actually an open book. But so my Papa Joe, which is my Nana Log's daddy, he was my great grandfather, and he was actually a truck driver, and he even sold moonshine around, born in 1927. I didn't really know his wife, Mimi. She died when I was 3, but we watched so many westerns, like it was unbelievable. Like I remember watching Gene Autry. I remember watching Wyatt Earp, you know, The Lone Ranger. And as y'all know, since I'm in film school in the present moment, currently 2024, I am writing another screenplay, but based on my life, you know, with friendship, called Iron Sharpens Iron, and pray that that goes well, y'all, because I'm really working hard. But like last year, while I was in film school, I wrote a Western to honor my great-grandpa, Joe. And I know he's probably smiling down from heaven, you know. And it's just beautiful. And we would love to eat jelly cream pies and drink chocolate milk. And I didn't eat too much sugar. A little bit I did. But also we would fix like taco meat sandwiches. It was like a burger. And you know, have our ordinary Southern sweet tea and things like that growing up. I'm surprised my Papa Joe, my great-grandpa, you know, on my mama's side, I'm surprised he wasn't an actual cowboy, because if I don't have him on, but in a future video I will show y'all those boots that I inherited from my great-grandfather Joe. And you know, I just loved him. We used to play poker games, and when you're around that kind of stuff all the time, it just makes you feel like, wow, like I'm getting a blessing. Like there are some children or young people, young adults like me, who did get to know their grandparents or close to them, or even sometimes great-grandparents. But I don't know, like I've been told I'm awkward and like I have an old soul, and I'm glad I do, because that's just how it is, you know. And I've embraced that. And I've mentioned this in the past, but like I've embraced who I am, because like they really taught me about Jesus. Now Papa Joe didn't really teach me much about Jesus, but I know he did love God, and sadly he passed away of heart failure when I was 14 years old. But one day I'll dress up like a cowboy too for you. And being around movies so much, it was like, I told my mama, I said, I am sick of tired of going to the movie theaters, you know? And yet here I am now as a film major. And even watching the Westerns when I was growing up, my grandpa, I told myself, I said, I want to be a history teacher, not this. And then here I am now, because UNG had an option for film production, digital media majors. And I'm minoring in theater because I want to act more, take acting classes, and just, you know, become better. About my origin story, yeah, I love my dad and mama very much. They were great. They were great parents, and they still are. I grew up in a middle class family, you know, because when my mom, it's like she went to nursing school at Bernal, and we didn't give up, because I even took an anatomy class when I was at the North Shore Technical College, but it wasn't me. Probably could have, but like it's too monotonous. I'm creative and artistic, so like I'm artist more in performing, like singing, acting, screenwriting, like, and I like literature, studying religion, you know, stuff like that. But about my mom, yeah, I'm a little baffled how she became that, because it's like, wait, no, I'm not. I take that back. I'm not, because when Mimi died, my Papa Joe's wife, that was her grandmother. We called her Mimi. Get it? Mimi. That's a word for grandmother. And because even though Papa's an informal term for father, like as in dad, I call my grandparents Papa and Nana. But when I become a dad one day, I'll be a Papa. I want to be called Papa just because. So anyway, yeah, but when Mimi passed away, like, Mama was very depressed, and she was my great-grandmother, Mimi, and so she became a nurse, and 6 years later, she became a family nurse practitioner working in pain management. And, you know, I'm currently trying to get a job, so but I'm grateful of how I was raised. My parents, they helped me grow up in a, like, I didn't have a stable church, but I grew up in the Pentecostal / non-denominational churches. And, growing up in that kind of stuff, we went from church every 4 years or 3. One of the church's pastors, he actually was able to buy that house. So it was a blessing at the same time. But I got baptized at a Baptist church called Helen First Baptist, great pastor. And, I just went through this period when I was 15 where I was getting depressed. I had bad thoughts, like the devil was telling me to hurt myself, kill yourself. And it was a trial being a Christian, because the year before I rededicated my life, or as I like to call it, being saved. I've learned, though, as an Orthodox Christian, there's a past, present, and future tense. That salvation is a journey, and that's what I believe. I adhere to that doctrine because I believe it. I think it's more than just being saved. I think it's like you're hoping to be saved, and you're being saved if you still live for God. Because if I wanted to, I could renounce my faith if I wanted to, but I'm not going to, because I know He's real. I know He's the Lord of my life, and that's why I'm telling you my story. So, yeah, being 23 years old, I had a great high school experience. I was like the awkward, shy guy around his crush, but outgoing in front of everybody. So, and in the marching band, I played this African drum called the Doumbek, and I even tried marching band, playing the alto sax just a little bit. And if you're wondering why I'm a minor in theater, it's because I want to take more acting classes, and I want to have more experience because I didn't take enough of them in high school. And I did join this choir, men's choir here at the college, UNG. So I'm trying to sing more, embrace what I love to do. And other than that, I don't know. I just grew up in a very stable environment, very safe as well. Like my aunts, I would go to my cousin's house, and we would ride 4-wheelers, go swimming in his swimming pool. We would, go fishing sometimes. My uncle, he taught me how to shoot a gun, but the one I told you about earlier, about my cousins, that uncle, he did teach me a little bit too. My dad, he was more of a football player because he's from lower Alabama, and my mom grew up here in Hall County. So, and people tell me, I've got a Southern accent, but it's just more of a little bit of a twang, and I'm proud to be Southern. I'm glad that George is the new film industry. But yeah, I'm currently reconnecting with some folks, including a girl, and I hope that goes well. But just people in general, making friends here at the college. And it's like I've said this in my past videos. It's like you want to stay in the present moment, but also don't always think of the past as a bad thing. Think of getting nostalgia. Think of it as a good thing, because when I was in high school, Kelly, my teacher, English teacher, she inspired me to have my own journal, and I was journaling for a long time, but now I'm doing it through videos. So, I just wanted to share this with y'all because it's important, of course I'm not telling you my whole life because I have some things that are private. I'm not going to tell you everything, but what I'm comfortable sharing with you, I don't mind you knowing. I was very blessed because even though my parents had a hard marriage in the beginning, they've now been married for 30 years as this past February. So God is good. That's how I know He's real too, because unlike a lot of parents who divorce, my parents stayed through it. Through it all. And if you're wondering why I believe in Jesus too, I said this in my past videos, is because I just had personal experiences of having those bad thoughts, that depression phase. I think Elijah himself was depressed one time, and have sleep paralysis, of where you can't move, and where you calling out to Jesus, and how you wake up, like I woke up, and how real he was to me. But about my Papa Nana Brooks, yeah, he was a milkman through the week. And my Nana Brooks was working in the clothing factory because she dropped out of high school, just because, that was very common for the Southerners back then. They grew up together. They had their own love story. And as I said in one of my podcasts, he wouldn't let her ride his bicycle. But ain't it funny how they got engaged on the side of the road in his 55 Chevrolet, I think. Yeah. And I'm not worried about getting a girlfriend. I'm focusing on myself. But, I believe I will get one, and I'm going to fall in love. But I'm going to focus on my acting and film career, theater, screenwriting, singing, all that good stuff. So, but my Papa and Nana Loggins, they got married at the preacher's house, and I went to the cemetery to sing the Blessed Are You, O Lord statue. She wasn't an Orthodox Christian, but she did love God with her whole heart. And I had a dream 2 weeks after she passed where she got in this car and she just smiled at me, and I knew it was God confirming her she was in heaven. So just being around so much religious stuff, unlike a lot of kids in my generation, I just embraced it. I knew that there is a God. And there's a quote that says this: life is like a movie. And it is. I remember I was talking to a friend catching up this morning, and he was like, I haven't seen you in a while. And I said, yeah, I haven't seen you too. And I said, this is like a scene, ain't it? And he said, what? And your life is like a movie. And I've read testimonies of people who died, went to heaven, or God bringing them back, or giving them a second chance, he shows their whole life in front of their eyes. And they say that too, before you die, you see a vision of your whole life. And even though I've never had vision, I had dreams of Jesus or angels. And growing up around a very pious family, Pentecostals and Baptists, it's not trying to put labels on these Christians, but that's just how I was raised. And become an Orthodox Christian, if you want to know why I did that, go down to my very first video, my Faith in Jesus Christ, why I'm an Orthodox Christian. But I just wanted to tell you all that.